Shalom, shalom, everyone. It has been a while. I am just coming to you to put out a video or just to discuss some world events. I know I'm a little late at discussing some of these events because they may have happened a few weeks ago, and I have not released a video in maybe 6 weeks. Yep, about a month and a half. So, I am going to, first of all, let me just tell you all, I just had a lot going on, family wise in my personal life. And I've had a lot going on actually within the past, maybe since from last summer until now, until currently. And it, I had to, because what I was doing was just, how we're trained to do, just keep going, keep pushing forward. But I had to take a hiatus away from social media, away from everything, and just kind of, seclude myself in order to um spend time with the Most High, seek Him. I took a little, you know, like cabin trip or went to the mountains, just closed off. Um, and I'll just give you two examples of what's taking place within the last, I'll say, 7 months. Um, One is my daughter was hospitalized for a few weeks. She had sepsis in her blood. She had like a tumor that she didn't know she had, and it ruptured, and the poison went into her bloodstream. She was, in the hospital for several weeks, and to the point of death, ICU. And so, I was trying to be there for her. Even when she was released from the hospital, she still had several doctors and released with a nurse coming to the house and stuff like that. And then my husband and I, we have 3 children between us, and we had 5 grandchildren. One of our grandchildren were born and only lived for 2 weeks. And we had to bury him. Um, it's just, and I keep moving forward. I just kind of deal with it. Of course, I had to be strong. I had to organize and put everything together as far as having a little service for my grandson. And you try to be strong for everyone else, but you don't have the time to grieve or to mourn properly. And so I just it was just a number of things that were just compiling on me that I had to sit back and focus on me, because I realized too that I was starting not to have the right reaction to things, and even to my husband, even out of frustration or just wanting to be isolated or left alone, but not in a positive way. So I needed to, just take that time to get my head together and get my spirit in a better place with the Most High, so that I can be worthy to come before you all, to hear from Him, and then come before you all clean, come before you all um not from myself or my words, but from what I'm hearing from the Spirit. So anyway, um I just want to talk to about some things that's going on in the news. As far as I've written a few things of them down, and I this will be titled "Sabotage or Coincidence." So we know that there's several things going on as far as train derailments, 3 different train derailments, all happen to be leaking or carrying hazardous toxic chemicals. Um, that are released in the atmosphere. Um, we've had a few plant fires. Um, also happened to, what a coincidence, it has to be a plant. These plant fires were plants that also house hazardous materials that and these chemicals, if inhaled, can cause respiratory or COVID type symptoms. And then and we know within a certain mile radius of these fires, people's livestock, their chickens have been dying. They've reported that fish in the ponds and the lakes and streams are dead, hundreds of, fish. And so what else is going on? Okay, chicken plant fire. There was a chicken plant fire last month, and over 100,000 chickens were destroyed in the fire. They burned along with their eggs. And also there has been several chicken plant fires. I'll link these articles in the description box, but there have been several chicken plant fires and also fires in our food facilities. It seems to be some sabotage going on, but we're not hearing about it in the news. I don't know if is it Russia or China, that's the narrative that we always hear. Um, we don't we don't know, but we know that it's not really being spoken about on the forefront. Um, I think there have been about 100 within the last year. There have been 100 chicken. I mean, there's been 100 fires concerning food facility plants that are just mysteriously burning down to the ground overnight when no one's there. Um, and we've had, oh yeah, they had to get rid of about 58 million chickens. They had to euthanize those chickens because of bird flu. Um, for your safety and your protection, those chickens had to be euthanized. Also, I will link an article that discusses, they're saying deer, like within the last year or two, they've been saying that deer that have been randomly tested have been coming down with COVID. So they actually have been putting deer down, you know, in the woods just because these deer could be positive. Um, what else? Cows have been killed. I know this was in California. They said that they've had a lot of some cows roaming, livestock roaming in the like the different parks, the different national parks and everything. And so they were just going to be shooting those cows down from the air. Um, then we've had the radioactive water leaks that took place, 400,000 gallons of radioactive water. And this particular plant just happens to sit on the Mississippi River. And now in Philadelphia, we've had a water leak with more toxic materials or toxic hazardous chemicals being leaked into the water. So I'm saying all this to say, have you been stocking up on water? Have you been stocking up on food? Um, because a famine is coming. I've been saying this for a few years now. A famine is coming, and it will not only be a famine of food and water. And see, the Most High is so wonderful that He told us these things were coming. He still, although it's coming as judgment, He's forewarning us in order to prepare ourselves the same way that He told our ancestors to prepare. Um, so this won't will not only be a famine of food and water, but it will be a famine of the word. People will when things get tough, people are going to be looking for him then and won't be able to find him, because his word says to seek me while it is day, for at night no man shall find me. So a lot of people, we like to seek him when when things are gloomy, when it's dark, when it's in the midnight hour, when everything hits the fan. That's when we want to seek him. That's when we want to look for him. But he's calling upon us to seek him now. Seek him now, get rooted and grounded in him now, that we won't faint, and that we will be able to bend, like the palm tree, we'll be able to bend and go with the waves, with those winds, but we won't snap and break, because we are rooted in him. We are rooted in that true vine. And that's what where we have to be right now. We have to seek him with our whole heart, our whole mind, our whole soul, and basically be consumed in him. We have to dwell in that secret place. um I think about uh Exodus, when the Most High got Moses's attention, and Moses was wondering, how is this bush burning but it's not being consumed? And that's how we have to be in him. If we are in him and he is the all-consuming fire, we cannot be consumed by any other fire, because we're in him. And it takes me back to not only Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in that fiery furnace, when the Most High, when Christ, the son of Ahiah, when he was in that fiery furnace with him, protecting him, uh those flames could not consume them. And so they left out, not only were they not burnt, but their clothing had no soot on it, and it didn't even smell like smoke. So and that same thing happened to our father Abraham. He was jailed by Nimrod for 10 days, and then he was thrown in a fiery furnace. And that is in the book of Jasher, and I may touch on that in my next video. But he was not consumed. He was thrown in with his brother Haran, and but Haran, he was consumed because his heart was not perfect before the Most High. He was in the middle. He was in the middle between following Abraham and following the world. And actually, when Abraham was going back and forth with Nimrod, he said, well, if Abraham prevails, I'll follow him. If Nimrod prevails, I'll follow him. He was in that middle. So his heart was not perfect before the Most High. So when he and his brother were thrown in that fiery furnace, Abraham was not consumed because his heart was made perfect. He walked upright before the Most High, and he loved him with all his heart, soul, and mind. But because Haran was in the middle, he turned to dust. He was burnt to dust. And so times are coming that are going to be some times we've never seen. And we know there's no rapture, okay? We won't be raptured out of it. There is a second Exodus, but we will go through prior to um that second Exodus, we will go through. And we will go through the fire. We will go through the fire. We will be refined. Um, and we have to make sure that we have strengthened our hearts and minds and, strengthen ourselves in the word, that we won't faint and our hearts won't wax cold. So I just wanted to give you all this message. If you okay, also banks are collapsing, money, invest, in gold or silver, but you can't eat that. Make sure, because right now it's going to be, survival. And yes, um, the Most High can miraculously feed us as he did before, but he's forewarning us because he made provisions for our ancestors when they were delivered from Egypt. But when the famine was coming, um, he showed Pharaoh so Joseph could be put in place to make provisions. And because of that, the entire nation of Egypt, as well as other nations and our forefathers, were saved because of them storing up in advance. So um this famine and starvation will be to the death. So well, that's all I had. I'm going to make another video today, and hope I have a number that I need to get out, that I was planning to get out prior to my hiatus. But I pray that you all are well, that your families are met well, and also happy belated Passover, our feast of Passover and our feast of unleavened bread. I know that we are not in our land, but I did still just make a meal at my home, and I wore all white on that Sabbath. And just had in reverence to the Passover. And I just thank Yeshua Christ for being our Passover lamb. Um, and anyway, you all have a blessed day, and I will talk to you all soon in this next video, which I will be recording today.